She packed her bag. She wrote a goodbye letter. And she walked toward the door, ready to leave her mother forever. But just before she stepped out, Kandi found something. Something that changed everything. It started with just a small argument. A little thing. A broken curfew. A message Kandi didn't like. A voice Kandi didn't recognize. Who is this boy? Kandi's voice was sharp. Riley looked at the floor. He's just a friend. A friend doesn't call you at midnight. I didn't do anything wrong. The voices rose. The heat grew. You're always hiding things, Kandi snapped. I can't even trust you anymore. Riley froze. Those words hit her harder than any punishment. I can't even trust you anymore. Her heart dropped. She didn't yell back. She didn't cry. She just turned and walked away. Slowly. Silently. Upstairs, Riley locked the door. She didn't want dinner. She didn't want music. She didn't want anything. She sat on her bed and whispered to herself. If my own mom doesn't trust me, who else will? She thought about school. About friends. About all the times Kandi was too busy to listen. Too quick to blame. Too loud to hear the quiet pain in her daughter's voice. That night, Kandi stood outside Riley's door. We'll talk tomorrow, she said. But Riley didn't answer. She was already planning something else. She opened her closet, pulled out a small suitcase, and began folding clothes. T-shirts, jeans, toothbrush. She packed quietly, like she had done this before in her head. Over and over. Then she sat at her desk. She picked up a pen and began to write. Dear Mom, I love you, but I don't feel loved anymore. You don't see me. You don't hear me. I feel like a guest in my own house. So I'm going somewhere I can breathe. I don't hate you. I just need space. Riley, asterisk. She folded the letter, placed it under her pillow. Then she laid down on her bed, but she didn't sleep. She just stared at the ceiling, wondering if anyone would even notice if she was gone. Meanwhile, downstairs, Kandi was pacing. Something about Riley's silence felt heavy. Not like a teen tantrum. It felt colder, quieter, scarier. Kandi thought back to her own childhood. All the time she felt like her mom didn't understand her either. She used to say, when I have a daughter, I'll be better. But now, was she? The next morning, Riley woke up early. Before the sun. She washed her face. Grabbed her bag. I looked around the room one last time. Then reached under the pillow and placed the letter on the desk where it would be seen. As she opened the door, Kandi was standing right there. Where are you going? Riley's face went pale. She had no lie ready. No fake smile. Just tired eyes. Away, she said softly. Kandi's eyes moved to the bag. Then to her daughter's face. Why? Because I'm tired of not being good enough for you. Kandi's heart dropped. That's not true. Riley looked away. It feels true. And she tried to walk past her. But Kandi stepped into the room. She saw the note on the desk. She picked it up. Her hands shook as she read. Dear Mom, I love you. But I don't feel loved anymore. She sat down. And suddenly, the strong, loud, unbreakable Kandi Burruss broke. She covered her mouth. Tears came fast. Oh God, what have I done? She looked at Riley. Don't go. Please. Why should I stay? Riley whispered. You already gave up on me. No. I gave up on myself. I forgot how to listen. And just like that, for the first time in months, they both stopped trying to win the fight and started trying to hear the hurt. Sometimes it's not what we say that breaks someone, it's what we never say at all. Kandi sat at the edge of Riley's bed, letter still in hand. Tears still run down her face. Riley stood near the door, her suitcase at her feet. Neither of them said anything for a moment. Just silence. But this time, it wasn't cold. It was heavy. Kandi finally spoke. I thought I was protecting you. Riley didn't answer. Every rule. Every time I raised my voice. I thought I was keeping you safe. Still, Riley stayed quiet. Kandi looked up. But I never realized that I was making you feel alone. That broke something in Riley. She put the suitcase down. She stepped forward. You don't hear me, Mama, Riley finally said. You see my mistakes. My moods. My phone. But you don't see me. Kandi nodded. You're right. I try to be good, Riley said softly. But it's never enough. Not for you. Not for anyone. Kandi reached for her hand. Baby, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest. I can handle the truth. What I can't handle is losing you. They sat down together. And for the first time in a long time, Riley began to speak. Really speak. She told her mom how school made her feel small. How people talked about her online because of who her mom was. How sometimes she didn't know where she belonged. Not at school. Not in fame. Not even at home. Kandi listened. And this time, she didn't interrupt. She didn't give advice. She just cried. I didn't know you felt that way, Kandi whispered. Because you never asked, Riley replied. Kandi wiped her eyes. I grew up thinking strong meant silence. I didn't know how to let you see my soft side. But I need you to know something. What? Riley asked. I mess up too. I say the wrong things. I yell when I should hug. I go quiet when I should ask, what's really wrong? But I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. Riley's voice broke. Then why does it feel like I always disappoint you? Kandi held her face gently. Because I expected you to be strong when you were still learning how to stand. I was wrong. And I'm so sorry. They hugged. Tight. Tears mixing between them. And in that hug, Riley finally felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. That night, they ate dinner together. No phones. No TV. Just two people, trying again. After dinner, Riley opened her journal. She wrote, Today I almost ran away. But I stayed. Because my mom finally heard me. And that was enough to start over. Later, as Kandi tucked her in, like old times, she said, I know I can't fix everything overnight. But can we start fresh tomorrow? Riley nodded. Yeah, we can. Just before turning out the light, Riley whispered, Thanks for reading my letter. Kandi smiled softly. Thanks for not walking out the door. Some houses break down slowly. Not from storms. But from silence and things never said. But sometimes, all it takes to rebuild a home is one honest day. The next morning felt different. No yelling. No silence. Just peace. Riley came down to breakfast. Kandi had already made her favorite. Cinnamon toast and orange juice, just like when she was little. Riley blinked in surprise. You remembered? Kandi smiled. I remember everything. Even when I act like I don't. They sat together in silence. Not awkwardly quiet. Safe quiet. Riley took a deep breath. I was really going to leave yesterday. Kandi nodded slowly. I know. I even thought about where I'd sleep. What I'd eat. But nothing felt right. Because nothing felt like the. Kandi's eyes filled again. That means more than you know. That morning, they made a plan. Not a huge plan. Just a heart plan. A promise. Riley said, I want to be trusted. But I also want to feel safe telling you hard things. Kandi said, I want to protect you. But I also need to learn when to listen, not control. They wrote it down. Together. On a piece of paper. They both signed it. Taped it on the fridge. It wasn't fancy. But it was real. That day, Kandi asked, Can we clean your room together? Riley laughed. You hate how I keep my room. I don't care anymore, Kandi said. I just want to be invited in. So they cleaned. They laughed. They found an old drawing Riley made when she was 6. It was a stick figure mom and daughter. And above it, in crooked little handwriting, it said, Me and Mommy, best friends ever. Riley smiled. I meant it back then. Kandi squeezed her hand. Let's mean it again. Later that week, they had another deep talk. This time about social media. About pressure. About fame. About how Riley sometimes feels too big to be a kid, but too young to be grown. Kandi listened better now. She didn't try to fix everything. She just nodded and said, That sounds heavy. I'm proud of you for saying it. And that was enough. They made safe time every night at 8:30. No phones. No shows. Just tea, or music, or coloring, or talking. Some nights they just sat quietly. But even silence felt better now. Because it was shared. One night Riley said, Can I show you something? She pulled out her journal. She read a page aloud. Said, Day by day we're getting better. Not perfect. But better. Some days I still want to run. But now I know. There's someone who will run after me. Kandi teared up. I didn't know if I could be the mother you needed. Riley replied. You already were. You just didn't know how to show it. They hugged. But this time, it wasn't out of sadness. It was out of deep, quiet love. 2 weeks later, Riley got invited to speak at a small school event. She was nervous. But she said yes. She stood on stage, shaking slightly, and said, Last month I almost left home. I thought I wasn't loved. But now I know love doesn't always come wrapped in perfect words. Sometimes it comes after pain. After tears. After the truth. And that's still love. Maybe the strongest kind. The crowd was silent. Then clapped. And Kandi was in the back, smiling proudly. Some letters are never meant to be sent. They're meant to be written. So we can finally hear ourselves. It was a rainy Saturday afternoon. The kind where you just stay inside, wrapped in a blanket, listening to soft music and thinking too much. Kandi was organizing boxes in the hallway closet. Old photos, holiday decorations, report cards, and one small notebook with a broken spiral. She almost threw it away, until she saw Riley's name scribbled on the cover. Riley's notebook, do not open, written in a big red pen. Kandi smiled softly. Sorry baby, Mama's opening it now. She sat down and flipped through the pages. Most were blank. Some had doodles. Some had poems. And then she found it. A page titled Letter I'll Never Send. Kandi paused. Should she read it? But something told her she needed to. Dear younger me, I don't know where to start. Maybe you're 8 years old right now, sitting on your pink bed with too many stuffed animals. You smile a lot. But even then, you already feel like you're not enough. One day you'll get taller. Your voice will change. Your friends will fade. And you'll start looking in the mirror. And not like who's looking back. Some days you'll cry for no reason. Some nights you'll feel invisible in your own house. You'll wish someone would just ask, are you okay? But listen to me. You survive. You don't give up. And one day, Mom sees you again. Really sees you. She doesn't say everything right. But she loves you louder now. She tries. And that means something. So hang in there. Don't run. Don't shut down. Because healing is coming. Slowly. But it's coming. Phew. Kandi put the notebook down. Her hands were shaking. Tears ran down her cheeks. She whispered, I had no idea you were carrying all that. She walked upstairs. Riley was lying on her bed with headphones in, watching something on her phone. Kandi didn't say a word. She just walked over and hugged her. A long, silent hug. Riley paused. What's wrong? Nothing, Kandi whispered. I just found something brave. Riley realized what her mom meant. You read it? Yeah. Are you mad? No. I'm proud. I'm grateful you wrote it. Even if you never meant to send it. Riley looked away, embarrassed. It was just a way to get stuff out of my head. Kandi nodded. Sometimes writing is how we scream without making noise. Yeah. They sat together in quiet again. But this time, the quiet was full of truth. Kandi sat on her bed, holding her own journal. She hadn't written in years. But she opened it now. And wrote, Dear Riley, you are more than I ever imagined. You are the lesson I didn't know I needed. I'm sorry for all the times I missed your pain. I promise I'll never stop learning how to love you better. She closed the book. And smiled. You never really know how strong you are. Until you walk back into the room that once broke you. And you stand taller than before. It had been 2 weeks since Riley almost left home. Since the letter. Since the hugs. Since the truth. She and Kandi had grown closer. They were talking more. Laughing more. Listening more. But outside their home, the world was still the same. And Riley had to go back to it. It was a Monday morning. Riley stood at the front door, backpack on, jacket zipped up. Her heart was beating fast. You ready? Kandi asked gently. Not really, Riley whispered. Kandi walked over and adjusted Riley's hood. You don't have to be ready. You just have to show up. That's brave enough. Riley smiled weakly. What if people talk? Kandi looked her in the eyes. Let them talk. You walk proud. Riley walked through the school gates. Every hallway felt louder. Every whisper felt like it was about her. Every laugh made her feel smaller. But she kept walking. 1 foot. Then the next. Then the next. At lunch, Riley sat alone. A group of girls at the next table were whispering. Looking her way. Laughing. Riley stared down at her tray. Pushed her food around. Tried to block out the sound. They don't know you, she reminded herself. They didn't see what you've been through. Suddenly, a girl from another class walked up. Her name was Tamar. Hey, you good? She asked. Riley looked up, surprised. I saw your poem in the school newsletter last week, Tamara said. It was real. I felt it. Riley blinked. You read that? Twice. People act tough, but that poem? That was strength. Riley felt her chest warm up. Not just from kindness, but from being seen. Kandi was waiting by the door when Riley came home. How was it? Riley paused. Good. Some people stared. Some laughed. One girl said my poem made her cry. Kandi smiled. Poems do that. Riley looked down. I didn't punch anyone. Didn't run away. Didn't cry in the bathroom. Then I'd say, you're doing amazing. They hugged. It was starting to feel normal now. Not awkward. Not forced. Just right. Riley wrote. Today I walked into the fire. But I didn't burn. I walked through the storm. But I didn't drown. They looked at me. Some judged. Some smiled. But no one owns my story but me. That's what strength is. Later, she showed the page to Kandi. Do you think I'm strong? Kandi didn't answer right away. She just looked at her daughter. Really looked. And then said, I don't think you're strong. I know you are. Some stories end quietly. Others begin again, stronger, softer, and written together. It was a normal Sunday morning. Kandi was in the kitchen, scrolling her phone. Riley was doing homework at the table, humming softly. The house was calm. No tension. No silence filled with secrets. Just peace. Kandi looked up from her phone and said, You know that writing program you showed me last year? Riley looked confused. The summer one? In New York? Kandi nodded. They're accepting students again. I emailed the director last night. I sent them your poem. Riley's eyes widened. You what? It was time. You deserve to be seen. 2 days later, Riley got an email. She read it silently. Then again. Then out loud. We are moved by your honesty and voice. We would be honored to offer you a spot in our summer writing program. Riley gasped. Kandi covered her mouth in shock. And then, they screamed. Together. That night, the mood changed a little. Riley was quiet. Kandi noticed. You okay? It's in New York. That's far. Kandi nodded. It is. What if I mess up? What if I get scared? What if I can't handle being alone? Kandi walked over and took her hand. You don't have to handle it all alone. You've got me. You've got your words. And you've got your strength. But will you come with me? Only if you want me to, Kandi smiled. But I can help you pack and wait by the phone like a proud mama. Riley smiled too. Both sound nice. A few weeks later, they were at the airport. Riley held her small suitcase. She looked nervous. Excited. I'm really doing this, she whispered. Yes, you are, Kandi said. And I'm so proud of the woman you're becoming. Riley looked down. I'm still scared. Kandi hugged her tight. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It just means you go anyway. On her first night in New York, Riley opened her notebook. She wrote, this time last month, I almost left home forever. But instead of leaving, I finally arrived, in my truth, in my strength, in my mother's love. We didn't just fix the cracks. We planted flowers in them. And now we're writing a future. Together. Back home, Kandi hung a photo on the fridge. It was Riley, holding her journal and smiling at the writing program. Underneath it she wrote in marker. My daughter. My pride. My lesson. My friend. Then she whispered, thank you for staying.